So new themed armies of renown, and 3 mini codex supplements in this book. Today let's talk about the contents page for Warzone Charadon, the Book of Rust. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, where today we're looking at the preview for the Warzone Charadon expansion as shown off on Warhammer Community. To be honest, it is a little bit surprising that Games Workshop are releasing a codex expansion at this point, as virtually all the armies in 9th edition don't have their new codex yet. In any case though, this book looks like it's going to give us a bunch of Crusade rules, a bunch of campaign rules, and most interestingly to me, a bunch of new match play rules, including expansions for Drukhari, Admech and Imperial Knights. Let's take a look at what we've got. So as we know, this is Act 1 of Warzone Charadon, heavily implying that there's going to be another book to follow it up. A lot of people seem to have been saying why there are no orcs in this book. I think that's fairly obvious. It's book 1 of a series, the orcs will be coming in one of the ones later. Maybe there'll just be 2 like Vigilus, or maybe there'll be more. In any case, Act 1 of Warzone Charadon is an expansion for Imperial Knights, Death Guard, Adeptus Mechanicus, and Drukhari. Particularly interesting that we get Drukhari rules before their actual codex comes out literally next week. It's broadly broken down into 4 different sections. Literally about half of the book seems to be given over to background and lore of Warzone Charadon, detailing Typhus's invasion of the sector, and the combined Imperial forces, including Imperial Knights and the Forge World Metallica, who march out to meet him. There's then a section on campaign rules, detailing the invasion of Obelisk, with rules for individual battlefields, and also a few things called legendary missions, which I can only presume represent some of the most notable engagements in the book. We've then got a section of actual core army rules, which amount to 3 different codex supplements, and 3 armies of renown to represent individual forces. Finally, we have a section on Crusade rules, I believe general things from the Obelisk invasion campaign, though there's a specific section for Death Guard called Virulent Gifts. So as it's actually going to change the game of 40k, I thought the core rules content was the most interesting myself. I'm not sure how popular the book might be with any given faction, to be honest. I think that the rules seem a little bit scattergun, and I suspect the majority of people don't collect 2 or more armies from this book. Admech and Imperial Knights certainly have a decent amount of overlap, but Drukhari and Death Guard are all completely different, so for any one faction you're only getting quite a small amount of rules, core rules wise. One of the most interesting new things from this core rules section is something called Armies of Renown, which we don't really know how they work yet. From the free text in the preview, it sounds like they're going to be a way to create a themed force with certain benefits and restrictions, and there could be some interesting new options for different ways to build armies. Hopefully they'll be able to balance them fairly well so they're not absolutely mandatory picks, but aren't completely useless either. Apparently each of those armies will get at least 1 relic, warlord trait and stratagem, and it seems that for the Death Guard there's even a psychic discipline thrown in, so they might be being a bit creative with these. The armies of renown in this book are a Freeblade Lance for Imperial Knights. To be honest, if they can in any way overhaul the Freeblade rules, that would probably be a good idea. Really, since the Imperial Knight book came out, there's not all that much incentive to actually run Freeblades. You get some minor benefits for them, but you also get some fairly major disadvantages as well. It means that they're used fairly rarely in competitive play. Apparently this force will allow you to field an entire army of Freeblades, which I guess maybe if they got some additional powerful rules might be worth it, but giving up one of the household benefits does seem like a bit of a steep price. Next we have a Mechanicus defense cohort. No real details as to what this is going to be yet. The free text mentions making an entire army of Admech automata, which I can only assume is going to mean Castellan robots, though Admech do have quite a lot of things that go clank. For the Death Guard there's a Terminus Est assault force, which sounds quite Terminator themed to me. Maybe some sort of benefit to Terminators or Land Raiders. Then it sounds like we have 3 different mini supplements for the Adeptus Mechanicus Metallica Forge World, Imperial Knights House Raven, and the Drukhari Witch Cult of Strife. All of these do of course have their own rules and their own codexes, with the usual single stratagem, warlord trait and relic. It'll be interesting to see just how much these are expanded on. I suspect something on the lines of those mini Space Marine supplements that we've been seeing in White Dwarf, maybe an extra 2 stratagems and maybe 3 relics and warlord traits. Out of the Admech, unfortunately Metallica are one of the least strong Forge Worlds right now, so any buff to them would be really quite nice to be honest. House Raven for Imperial Knights isn't a bad one, it does keep you more mobile, and it can make a Castellan's firepower go absolutely through the roof with their expensive stratagem. And the Drukhari Witch Cult of Strife, we don't actually know how they're going to function yet, as I'm sure that the vast majority of the Drukhari rules are going to be changed or updated in their new decks. It is surprising that it's coming out just before that rather than just after. I can only presume it's going to work okay with both the old decks and the new. The Witch Cult of Strife is Lilith Hesperax's cult, and their benefit at the moment is getting an extra attack on the charge. I'll certainly be looking to review these in detail when the full book comes out, so feel free to check back later if you'd like to see that, or subscribe to Auspex Tactics. Hopefully we might get a few more details alongside pre-orders tomorrow. For the rest, we have the Crusade rules detailing the Obelisk invasion, battle traits, relics and weapon enhancements, and something called Death Guard Virulent Gifts, which are another way to spend virulence points that you acquire for Death Guard in their Crusade rules. At the moment you can only use them to modify your custom contagion, so nice to have another way where they can be useful. Apparently the campaign rules are going to be based around gameplay involving defenders, invaders and raiders, so interesting to have a 3-person campaign potentially. And there are going to be particular battlefield rules for diseased war zones and Mechanicus strongholds. Of course this is only Act 1 as we know. I'd be absolutely amazed if Orcs didn't make an appearance in the next book, and it's also been strongly hinted that Grey Knights are going to be making an appearance as well in the Warhammer community article. So let me know what you think of the Warzone Charadon expansion. Does it look like it's worth getting to you, or are you going to hold out and see exactly what's on offer before taking the plunge? I'll certainly be interested to know what you have to say down in the comments. If you've enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, where of course we will be covering this when it comes out. And if you have been enjoying my videos, I would just like to mention that the channel has a Patreon page, which you can find down in the video description. Channel patrons do get a fair few advantages, such as seeing certain videos early, regular votes to see what sort of things come next on the channel, and automatic entry to the monthly prize giveaways, with a chance to win some really big model kits every month. If any of that sounds good to you, or you'd just like to help support the channel, then the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.